Peace and greetings. Peace and greetings. Peace and greetings. Peace and greetings. So, Goddess Queen Jamila here. And I am looking at my school assignments. So, if you don't know, I'm Goddess Queen Jamila, and I am a soon to be master's graduate of women's spirituality, um, specifically women's spirituality and African feminisms. And I really want to talk about this concept and this category of African feminisms because I find it extremely funny how black women do not like to use the word feminism. And there's a whole backlash at this word feminism. And it's primarily because of the association with feminists. And that association has come largely at the hands of white women. It's come largely at the hands of white women. White women have enveloped themselves in this word feminism so thoroughly that black women are resistant and or leery about using the word feminism. We don't identify as feminists. By and large, we don't identify as feminists. And I wonder if there's propaganda around that. I wonder if that is part of it. I'm so excited, you all. Like, I literally am doing the type of graduate program that I want to do. I'm studying the things that I want to study. Women's spirituality is not a forerunning topic or area. Like, who studies women's spirituality, right? So for me, being enrolled in this graduate program is very, very deep for me because I am a spiritual life coach. I am an Ianifa. I am a priestess. I am a sacred woman practitioner. I am a ceremonialist. And I work with Black women. I work with Black women. You know, though that is my client base, that is my target audience, that is who I speak to, that is who I create my programs for. All things Black women, Black women, Black women. And I've had people ask me in the past, like, why do you only work with Black women? Why don't you work with Black men? You know, why don't you work with men, period? And I think that question is so asinine, really and truly. I do think that that question is asinine. And the reason I think it's asinine is because I never have I ever walked into a pediatrician's office and said, why do you only work with kids? Why do you only work with children? You don't want to work with adults? Like, I've never walked into a gynecologist's office and asked them, why do you only work with women? Why do you work in the field of obstetrics and gynecology? Like, it's an asinine question to ask a spiritual leader, to ask a master teacher why they are working with their the population that they're telling you that they're working with. It's a question that can actually be considered disrespectful because as a master teacher, as someone who is working within this realm of spirituality, Nothing that we do is self-led. It's not a self-led process. Everything that we do as a master teacher is something that we've been instructed to do, we've been directed to do. This is an intuitive process. So it makes sense for us to know who we're supposed to work with. And if you're questioning that type of stuff from your master teacher or questioning that from any spiritualist, that means you're already out of bounds. You're already out of bounds because that's not even your lane. That's not where you should be. You should come back where you belong. Somebody tells you that they're a spiritual life coach and that they're working with babies, then you honor that. You don't ask, well, why do you work with babies? Obviously, because spirit told them to. If they're a spiritualist, stop asking asinine questions. Ask questions that are going to help you to thrive. You know, we get the wrong message in the States. We learn messages like, oh, there's no stupid questions. Actually, there are stupid questions. And actually, there are questions that you shouldn't be asking any high level teacher. Like for that teacher to even have to fix their brain to lower down to answer that question, that's not okay. When you ask questions, your questions should be high value questions. Forget high value people. Let's go through high value questioning. I have to be honest and say that there are many times where I feel a level of internal pressure when I'm teaching because there's something that I'm teaching about, but then there's an arsenal of information behind that something. There's an arsenal of information. Like there's something I'm teaching about, but like the subject that I'm teaching about has more details to it. And I feel a lot of pressure because I want to bring you up to speed. I want to bring you where I'm at so that you can understand thoroughly. I'm a very thorough teacher. That's why I don't have a whole bunch of people following me right now. That's why I don't have millions of subscribers and etc. Because we're going to go deep and we're going to go wide. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom and we're going to go wide. That's my type of teaching. That's how I like to learn and that's how I like to teach. So that's how I teach. Right? That's me. That's my style. And it's important to know my style because every student is not my student. I said that I work with black women, but just because I work with black women doesn't mean that all black women are qualified to work with me. They're not. They're not. I'm direct. I haven't mastered the sweet and soft delivery. I'm gonna give it to you direct. You're gonna get it directly. And I feel like that style of teaching is the one that has the highest integrity for me is because I'm not about to waste your time. We don't have time to waste. We got things to do, people to see, places to go. We got rituals to uphold. We got ancestors to venerate. We have a lot of things going on. And I'm not about to sit here and waste your time. What I am going to do is make sure that you get the information that you need and that you get information that's going to assist you on your journey of spiritual development and metaphysical mastery. That's my job. Make sure you have that information. But all the other stuff, I don't do motivation. I'm not going to motivate you. I'm not your cheerleader. I'm not about to do all that. I'm just not. I got to be real with you. You get to be real with me. I'm not about to do all that. So I give thanks and praise for being in this type of program that I'm in. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the live, um, If you have not already signed up for Lionsgate, I don't understand what you're waiting for. And if this is the first time you're hearing about it, that means you are not on my email list. So you're not going to hear about it if you're not on my email list. You're not going to get newsletters. You're not going to get updates or notifications. Uh, Lionsgate is happening tomorrow. Today is Thursday right now in Tanzania. So Lionsgate is going down tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. And I am hosting a very big workshop for Lionsgate. Lionsgate is the portal. We've already talked about this. If you've been subscribed to my channel, then you should know Lionsgate is a portal. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. Stop playing. Stop playing and subscribe. And you can also go ahead to my website, freethefeminine.com, and register for Lionsgate. Like, I'm looking at this Lionsgate registration list, and there are, let me give you the numbers, because this is why it doesn't make sense. This is why people are slow moving to help. This is why spiritual leaders and teachers like myself are not able to help change the trajectory of our indigenous lives with speed, because you all are slow moving. I'm looking at this Lionsgate registration list. There are 25 people registered for Lionsgate, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why. It's a free workshop. Lionsgate is a portal. I am a ceremonialist. I am an Ianifa. I am a priestess. I am a spiritual life coach. I will be Dr. Goddess Queen Jamila in a couple years as I am getting my doctorate. You have a highly certified, highly qualified teacher who has been teaching for well over 15 years, leading and guiding you through a Lionsgate, and you have not signed up yet? You have not registered? What you waiting on? What are you waiting on? freethefeminine.com. freethefeminine.com. Head there now. Sign up now. It's not too late. It's 24 hours away. Like I said, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. The time is now, right? I just got off of a live on TikTok, and that live was wonderful because it was hosted by one of my loves. I just absolutely adore her because she is a Leo like myself. I'm a false Virgo, but I'm a Leo. And she's talking about the cost of initiation. And baby, initiation is not cheap. If you don't know what initiation is the process of receiving spiritual protection from a African spiritual technology. In this case, she's talking about Ifa, but there are many different spiritual technologies, including Vodun, including Lukumi, Santeria, just many different ones. They all kind of stem from that same African spiritual technology. But either way it goes, initiation is not cheap. It's not an inexpensive process. People are paying upwards of $10,000 to be initiated, and there are they who complain about the cost of initiation, which is crazy. And the reason why it's crazy is because we are living in a time period where spiritual warfare is rampant. It is rampant. Like, we're not even talking about spiritual warfare that is localized. And when I say localized, I mean, if you've ever watched a Nigerian movie, you've seen that there are like local spats and people who do stuff to each other because they're jealous and etc. We're not talking about that. We're talking about localized, meaning we're talking about the powers that be. You have powers that be out here running matrix systems, ensuring that Babylon continues to be Babylon and Babylon continues to run efficiently. You have those type of powers that be who are also creating warfare, basically. Creating warfare. And what does creating warfare mean? That means that they are waging spiritual attacks on people. How else can I put that? I'm not going to put that any other way. Waging spiritual attacks on people. And as they wage those spiritual attacks, what we find is that we are not rooted in protection the way that we need to be in order to fight those attacks off. We're not rooted the way that we need to be. We're not protected the way that we need to be. We're not covered the way that we need to be. A lot of us used to be covered by our grandmother. Our grandmother was our covering. Our grandmother was our protection. Our grandmother's prayers, our great grandmother's prayers. Those are the type of things that protected us. Those are the type of things that kept us safe from harm. Okay. But these days, we don't even have that. These days, we don't even have our grandmother's protection. Sometimes the grandmother is all of 38 years old. Sometimes the grandmother is the reason why you need protection. We don't even have that anymore. We don't have what we used to have. So because we don't have what we used to have, it's absolutely imperative to get spiritual covering. It's imperative to have that spiritual covering. It's imperative to have protection. We're not in a time period anymore where you can afford to go without it. We're not in a time period anymore we're not in a time period anymore where we can afford to go without protection. We're not in a time period anymore where we can just wing it. This is why deep ancestral technology like Ifa is so important. It's important because we can tap in, and we can tap in so that we can get covered. So we can get covering. That's what this is all about. Oh my goodness. Look at this string hanging down. And y'all didn't even tell me. Y'all didn't even say, like, hey, hey, you got a big old string right there on your forehead. Thanks a lot. All right, that's better. So, yeah, so this is one of the reasons why I continue to solidify myself. I continue to learn. I continue to grow. I continue to do the work. But I will say that sometimes I get highly irritated, highly irritated, highly agitated, highly irritated, because that concept of the way the Western world has completely disconnected us from our indigenous way of spiritual learning. It is crazy to me. Like, For example, um, I gave the example earlier about asking questions. In the West, they teach you that there's no such thing as a stupid question. Absolutely, positively, there is. There are. There are stupid questions, and there are stupid questions that you should not be asking master teachers. Your question needs to be high value. Okay, I said that already. But the other thing is, a lot of these women who are half assing spiritual technology and claiming to be children of Oshun or Oya or this or that, it's really important to understand that spiritual technology is not something to play around with. This is not a game. This is not like Christianity where anybody can claim to be a Christian. All you got to do is just jump up and say, I declare about the Lord and Savior. Yeah, raise your hand when they call you, do the altar call. That's not this. This is different. Okay? African spiritual technology is different. And when you go through the process of being thoroughly covered, you'll understand why it is annoying at best to see someone claim to be a child of blank or X or Y or Z when they haven't actually done the work. Imagine, let's just use a regular, schmegular, degular example. Let's use the example of Boy Scouts. Okay, and let's just, Girl Scouts, right? Let's just imagine for a moment that Girl Scouts, becoming a Girl Scout was such an integrated process that you had to spend 3 days in the woods. You had to um, skin an animal. You had to build a fire. You had to climb to the top of the mountain with nothing but a rope, and your troop. Imagine that's the type of process that we're talking about to become a Girl Scout. And after that, you get given the pin. You're given a pin now. I'm officially a Girl Scout. I'm a Girl Scout and I'm considered to be a brownie because of my age. Great. Okay. Now imagine as a brownie, somebody's coming and saying, oh, yeah, I just found out, me too, I'm an honorary brownie. How can you be an honorary brownie when you didn't go through the process? You didn't go through any of the process. You didn't have to build a fire. You didn't run up to the top of the mountain. Like, this is what I'm saying about disrespect within African tradition and African spirituality. You not doing no work, but you want to claim benefits. You not doing no work, but you want to claim the rewards. And that's not how this works. It's just not how this works. It's not how this works. And it's unfair. At best, it's unfair to the people who have actually done the work, the people who have actually dedicated blood, sweat, and tears. It's unfair for you to jump up and start claiming their spiritual technology after having done nothing. And what it is, it's a very colonialist approach to African spirituality. You are the colonizer of African spirituality if you are coming around and saying, I am child of, I am this, I am that, when you have not done the work. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know what you want from me. That's why I said I'm not everybody's teacher. I'm not all black women's teacher because I'm going to say what's real. I'm going to speak honesty. I'm going to speak truth. I'm going to speak from the heart. I'm going to speak from the spirit. I'm not everybody's teacher. But if I am your teacher, then you need to go to freethefeminine.com and sign up for the Lionsgate portal, which is tomorrow. Like I said before, 25 people have signed up for Lionsgate. 25. And this is a free workshop. You all should be clamoring by the hundreds to get in there. You should be running in to sign up, sending DMs, sending emails, and asking, how can I get in? What can I do to get in? As I talked about yesterday, simply because of the fact that we don't have the tools to fight fire with fire. Our job is not to fight fire with fire. We're the mothers of civilization. I'm not fighting no fire with fire. But we can certainly fight fire with spiritual technology. We can certainly fight fire with our prayers. A lot of the things that have kept us safe over the years are the prayers of our matrilineal lineage. The matrilineal lineage is responsible for keeping so many of us safe. They've kept us safe. Okay? So I am putting all these things into perspective again. Getting my master's in women's spirituality, getting a PhD in African feminism. These are the things that have solidified my work. And I'm grateful. I am grateful. I feel elated at the idea that I've been able to learn under the tutelage of women who only teach about these type of subjects. Everybody can't say that. I'm sure those TikTok witches that you follow and those people that you absolutely love on Instagram, that they can't say that about their background, about their education, about their certification. I'm sure they can't say any of those things. So it's a flex. And it's a flex that I'm very proud of. I'm extremely proud of that. Nobody can take it away from me. But while I have learned a lot in this, you know, women's spirituality program, I am ultimately super aware that we've been learning the wrong way. We've been learning the wrong way. That there is a level of indigenous learning that we need to acquire as well. There's a level of indigenous learning that would benefit us. We would highly benefit from learning in ways that don't disrespect our master teachers, learning in ways that hold honor, that hold reverence, learning in ways that speak to our spirit. Okay, if you're in the room right now and you are hearing me, I would love for you to tell me one of your favorite master teachers. It could be from a book that you've read. It could be from a class that you took. I'd love to hear who your favorite master teachers are in this world of spirituality. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Because this is important. You know, even before I did the Queen Afua Rites of Passage, Sacred Woman, I was a big fan of Queen Afua's work. I was a very big fan of Queen Afua's work. And I give thanks and praise even in being able to benefit from her work, because going through the process of Sacred Woman, I'm reminded that what was missing all those years that she was teaching and doing this and doing that, what was missing was her systems. She didn't have the proper systems to be able to execute her program in ways that made it easy to reach the masses. And once she got that system and you know was able to update and upload everything, then that was how we were able to initiate. Because I initiated when I was nomadic. I started my initiation journey. I think I joined Sacred Woman in Tanzania, and then I jumped over to Kenya. Yep, I was on the initiation journey in Kenya. And then I moved on over to Rwanda, still doing initiation. And yeah, I came back to Tanzania. So I was on the move. I was in transit, but still initiating in transit. So there's just a lot of there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity to deepen your spiritual practice, but only if you're willing to surrender a lot of those heavy duty Western normatives, those Western ideals, because those Western ideals really they can really hold you back. They can really hold you back. Okay. So again, I'm grateful. You know, you can probably say, oh, well, aren't you adhering to some form of Western ideals by getting a doctorate? Absolutely. Yeah. I have to submit papers, I have to write, I have to submit scholarship, do academic journals. Like, I've got to go through the process. Like, yeah, it's part of it. However, comma, I'm going through it with awareness. My eyes are wide open. I'm not oblivious to what's going on. I'm not blind. I'm not fooled. I'm very aware, very woke, very conscious. Okay. And that makes all the difference. That makes a lot of difference. It's how you approach it. If you're approaching it with your eyes closed, if you're approaching it from a place of ignorance, if you're approaching it blind, then you can get set up for the okie doke. You can lose yourself. You can become a sacrificial lamb in the process because you're not aware. But if you're coming in with your eyes wide open, you're aware, you know what's going on. You can see clearly, there's no rain. Then that means you can operate differently. You can maneuver differently. One of the biggest pieces of advice is that I've gotten from my uh, former professor is to make the right connections. And that's what it's all about. Like, making the right connections, baby. It's not what you know a lot of times. It's who you know. It's what you know. For me, it's what I know, but it's also who I damn know. It's who I know for me. You know, right now I'm in the process of planning a retreat to Zanzibar, and my husband is leading a tour to Burkina Faso. And both of these things that we are undertaking are going to be successful, not just because of what we know, but because of who we know. It's who we know. People be talking about traveling all the time. Black women want to travel everywhere. Okay, give thanks and praise. But baby, traveling through Africa is not like traveling to Thailand. There are levels to this. And there are certain places like in Africa that are who you know places. That means if you don't know nobody, you can easily get messed up. Y'all see all the beautiful women traveling to Africa and this and that and having great trips and posting and jet skiing and, you know, all that good stuff. What you don't see is all the women who have gotten chased up out of here, who are no longer here, who are no longer living in Africa, who are no long, who ran out of here screaming at the top of their lungs, because certain places are who you know places. It's not about what you know. You can't Google certain things. Certain things you got to be boots on the ground to know, boots on the ground to see, boots on the ground to figure out. So I give thanks and praise for what I know, but most importantly, I give thanks and praise for who I know. Because the who I know is honestly what helps me to go far. All right, so I'm just live again, just talking. I'm probably gonna go back and watch these lives, maybe, or get my assistant to do it and transcribe them so I can give them good titles, because right now I don't really have good titles for my lives. It is what it is. So I'm gonna jump off here and get on my Free the Feminine page, and I'll see you soon. Make sure you register for Lionsgate, which is Friday, August the 8th at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can register at freethefeminine.com. All right? Peace.